Hey, what's going on everyone? Shiva Sapkoda here with another Tesla review. This instrument cluster display that we are reviewing in the channel today includes pretty much everything we have asked for on an instrument cluster for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y all these years. First of all, this is a steering wheel mounted system, so less bulky and doesn't block as much airflow. This also has a front-facing camera that we have all been asking for, especially for those of you who do not have ultrasonic sensors in your car. That front-facing camera is awesome and provides great value. This also shows blind spot detection along with so many unique features, including Autopilot nav, everything that we have asked for. So super excited to bring this video out to you all today. I'm going to show you detailed step-by-step installation guide. I'm going to take you all on the road, show you everything that this display shows. I'm going to share how to change the settings and everything, and then we're going to end the video with our honest review. This display comes from TMA, Tesla Motors Accessory. This is the same company that has sent us other products in the past, including the mini instrument cluster display recently. And then they also offer a variety of Tesla Model 3 and Model Y products. Especially for those two models, they have a large selection, but they also have some product for Model S and Model X, and they're constantly adding new products to their catalog. They also have a worldwide partnership for installers and suppliers, so you might be able to pick up a product locally where you live from TMA because of the partnership that they have. So here is everything that the package comes with. You got your main display. This looks like a pretty typical display, except this one is more of a horizontal phone almost type of a situation, because this is smaller but longer at the same time, because they are gonna plan on fitting a lot of stuff, including CarPlay here. They got a little buzzer here. I'm not sure if the sound is going to work, playing through CarPlay maybe. They have a little reset button, looks like, and then towards the back they have a USB-C input here for software updates. It is hidden in the back, unlike the size that we typically see here. Then you have this cover. This is more of a hard shell cover, so it's not a soft cover. I'm not sure if I like that, because that area over there is pretty difficult on the steering wheel panel, but we'll see how this goes. Then you've got this plug here and a 3 input. So this is the power, this is for your data, and then I believe this one is for the front camera. But this also includes this pin where they can remove this pin and just add more inputs in the future, which is awesome, because then the wiring, they can always keep it current by upgrading this pin here and then adding more stuff. So it's an upgradable display here. Then you got this wiring harness. This is a pretty typical wiring harness, but that could look intimidating, so I'm going to explain to you what each of this does. This right here is for your Intel computer. This is only for Intel, not for AMD. If you look at it here, this is the one that you have to access, the very difficult to access location underneath the glove box, that tedious pin. We have removed it so many times, so ours is loose, yours might not be. So if you're an Intel person, your installation is going to be a little bit more difficult than an AMD cars. And I'll show you here in just a second on how to check if you have an Intel or AMD car. Then it has got a fuse. The reason why this Intel chip has a fuse is because this plug also can extract the 12-volt power from that same pin. AMD can't do that. This is only for Intel, so you don't have to get another power source for Intel. Now, if we move on to the AMD side, these are the plugs that you're going to need for AMD. This was for Intel again, this is for AMD, and it will show you AMD power, and then this is the AMD OBD. Now for the AMD car, your OBD plug is in a very nice location where you just have to remove a door panel, and then that is right there. So it is on that footrest panel right by the passenger side, and it's an open blue plug. There is no two-way plug here, it's just one open plug, and you just insert this on that plug, and that's it. You don't have to do anything. But you do need power, additional power, because this plug does not contain power. The AMD plug is not powered, so you're going to need power, and this is where you can, right next to the OBD port on the AMD car, you're also going to see a power port where we're going to bypass it. So that is everything on the input side. On the output side, all you have is a power and data here, and then in the future they're going to have the front camera, but this is pretty straightforward where you just plug this in here. To check if you have an Intel or the AMD chip, go to your vehicle setting, go to software menu, go here and press on this additional vehicle information, and this is where you are going to see, if you look closely on this pop-up here, it will show that infotainment processor is AMD Ryzen. So if you have the Intel Atom, this is where it will show that it is an Intel Atom. Start by removing this side door panel on the top here for both system AMD and Intel. You just need to use a pry tool. Then you are going to want to remove the bottom door panel for the AMD cars. And to do that, you just have to remove this plastic screw. It is in a bit of an awkward position, but you can use a pry tool and that screw comes out. Then you can just reach underneath that panel and pull it up. And there is no more screws. It should just come right out. That is only for AMD. If you have an Intel version, you don't have to do any of that. So depending on your car model, if it has an AMD chip or an Intel chip, you're going to have to follow two different protocols. First of all, for the AMD chip, this is your power. So this is the 12 volt you can tap into, and I'll show you here in just a second. And then the OBD plug is inside there. So that blue plug that you see is your OBD plug, and I'll show you how to plug that in here in just a second. And for the AMD, so all you have to do is plug that OBD there and then the power there. For Intel, that is a different installation. So let's first finish the AMD one, and then I'll show you the Intel one. So these are the plugs that you have to use for an AMD version. So there's the blue plug that goes into that blue plug, and then this white plug goes here in the power. So for the blue plug, it's pretty straightforward. It's just an open port there, and then you just align this, and then you push it in, and then it secures in place. So that is all you have to do for the OBD side. Again, it's an open port, and then it just plugs into place like that. Now for the power, it's also a very straightforward process. As you can see, this matches exactly what you see here. And to remove that unit here, all you have to do is press on this middle part, and then while holding the plug down, pull the plug out. So just put some leverage here and then hold the plug, and then you pull that out. Now you take this harness here and then plug the male plug in here. So you put the male plug in here, so that secures it in place. Then use the female plug with the Tesla's male plug and then plug it in here. And this is very common for a lot of installations out there. We have done a lot of instrument clusters and other products, and this is how you get the 12 volt outlet for the cars with an AMD chip or Intel chip. So this plug should be present on both. Now, recently I have heard that some of the Austin built ones or some of the other Shanghai built ones do not have this white plug on the door panel. Now, if you do not have that plug there, then please let the manufacturer know that you don't have that plug here. Then they will send you a new type of harness where you can tap 12 volt underneath through here. You have to remove the carpet and go underneath for the wireless charger, or even here where there is a 12 volt, the cigarette lighter port, and they will be able to tap into that and send you a wiring harness that goes all the way here and then make that connection. So if you do not see this plug on your car, then reach out to the manufacturer and they will solve that issue for you. Now, if you have an AMD car, but when you make those connections, you can ignore this Intel chip because that's just for the Intel cars. And you can just take these two leads from the side here and then take it all the way to the steering wheel panel. Now, if you have an Intel car, it's a little bit more difficult because you're gonna have to reach underneath here and then remove those plastic fasteners that you see. So all of those you have to remove. There are 4 of them. And then let's go through that process now. Of those 4 plastic screws, you can use a pry tool to remove them. Once the panel is removed, you will see the LED light connector, which can be removed by pinching on the middle tab and pulling it out. Then the speaker plug can be disconnected by simply pulling on the plug. Next, on the Intel installation, you are going to route these 2 plugs, the yellow and the red, through here, this opening, and then so we can route it up here. So you just have to reach from this area and then grab onto those plugs and then just pull them out. You might have to do it one by one and then just take them out. You shouldn't need any fishing wires or anything like that for this pulling because there's a lot of space down there to do this. So you just have to pull this out and then we can take it all the way to the steering wheel panel. Leave some slack here because you still need to make that connection, but you don't need a lot of slack here. This is the difficult plug we need to remove for the cars with an Intel chip. You just have to pinch on the middle tab and while holding it down, pull the plug out. Then take the new harness and plug the male Tesla adapter into the female adapter of the new harness, and then take the new male adapter and plug it into the Tesla computer. Make sure to align the plug straight to prevent bending Tesla pins. Again, this is super tedious and requires a lot of patience. At the end, it should make a complete circuit. If you find today's video helpful, and if you haven't already done so, please help us by subscribing to the channel and also engaging with our videos. That means liking, subscribing, commenting, anything that you want to let me know in the comment section. If you just want to let me know that I did a good job in this video, or if you have any feedback, any question, anything, smiley face, please put those in the comment section below. I really do appreciate it because it helps us rank higher in YouTube's algorithm with any engagement, sharing in different forums, anything that you can do to help us grow, because we can continuously bring videos like this in the future. Thank you very much. Let's get started. Now that we have taken care of the wire routing process and we have these two leads, either for the AMD coming from here or Intel coming from inside, we can go ahead and remove this panel. And it's a pretty easy process. All you have to do is use the pry tool to remove this side panel here. And if you have an older car, you might need to remove this part here, or it might just come out, but you can use a pry tool. If you see a slit right here, that means you can use a pry tool to remove that and it will come out. Now we got to do the same thing on the other side, and then we should be able to remove this panel. So as I said earlier, just do the exact same thing on this side. Panel comes out. These are just held down by some clips. Using a pry tool, it comes out. Then you can slowly pull this out. You can grab right here on the edge and then pull this, and it actually comes right out from all directions, and it shouldn't be very difficult to remove this. Now this next part requires removing this panel here. To make this a little bit easier, make sure your steering wheel is all the way out so that this process becomes easier. So pull this out so you have enough room to work with here. Next, you're going to grab your pry tool here and just remove this two pins that you see here. So there's one right here, and then once this comes out, you don't have to completely remove it, you can leave it right there. Then the next pin is the same thing. So these pins are out. With those removed, you are able to pull this thing out. This is the leather piece here, and we are able to remove this by simply inserting our hands on the back here, and then you can then lift up on this panel here. You can use your pry tool. You can insert the pry tool here to help a little bit, but you can apply some pressure from behind here and you should be able to pull this out. Now go around and do the same thing. Just keep in mind, my panel is probably really loose because I have done this so many times, but you just have to do it from both sides here, and you should be able to just remove this. There are these pins that are just holding down here. There are no screws, nothing else. So this is a pretty straightforward opening, but if you have never done this again, this might be a little scary, but just know that don't apply too much pressure, but you do have to apply some form pressure here. Now this next step requires us removing this cloth part, this leather part from our existing Tesla bracket, and then insert it here, because up to here these are the same panel. The height is the same, everything is the same, but right here we don't have this piece, the cloth piece here. So we're going to replace this or remove this from here and then install it here. And to do that, you simply have to push up on these edges here. So there's one bracket here, push up and then it comes out, push up and then that one comes out. Then you just have to pinch this two together, and then that one comes out. So there are multiple of them. You just have to pinch it. Again, if you have never done this, this might be a little bit hard. Ours is probably pretty loose. And to install it, same process. You just have to insert these two panels here, the clips, and all those clips are in. And now we simply lift up on this, secure that, lift up on this, secure this. That's it. Now in this next step, you're going to take this cable and run it all the way to the steering wheel panel. And if you take a look at it here, I have some masking tape from previous installation. All you have to do is put this masking tape down and make sure that these cables are running from the very, very middle here, and they're not touching any of these pins, because you're gonna have issues if the cables are touching this pin. The dash is gonna clip on them and you might ruin the cables. So to avoid that, just put both of these cables all the way through, but put a masking tape so that these cables are this masking tape is holding it down during the installation so that the cables don't come in contact with those clips, and you're going to want to do that all the way through. Then we will be ready for the installation of the actual unit. Now, before we make this official and we install this in here, it is pain in the butt to remove this after you install. So what we're gonna do is test this display first. So what we can do is take the power button here and then connect it with the same red one. And then we need to connect the yellow one here and then connect it with the yellow OBD connector here. And we should see the power turn on, which it did. That means this is working well. So we have connected it. Now we can go ahead and install it. Installation is exactly like how we removed it earlier. All you have to do is make sure all of these plugs are outside. We can clean that up in just a second here. And then you just slide this in to its place and it should fit perfectly because it's the exact same size, everything. So it should fit perfectly. You just have to then secure this, then clip it down everywhere. And you just have to apply some force. So let's see right here. So you should hear that click when it goes in, and then this should secure it in its place. So just go around and then do that on all directions here and make sure that this is fully secure. Then we can go ahead and finish up the installation process. Once this is secure, then you can go ahead and push these clips in exactly like how they came out. So have to align it and then push it in on both sides. Now you can adjust the steering wheel, just making sure that everything is good to go. We're going to push this in and it's like, looks like it's fine. So this is good to go. Now we can go ahead and install this dash by, again, just sliding it into its place, align the dash on where it needs to go, and it shouldn't be a very difficult process for it to align and clip it down. So just make sure it can clip down on all directions. And if it is standing up a little bit on some directions, then you know that the cable came on the way. So just make sure that there is no cables that are on the way. And if there are, you want to align those cables and make sure they become flush. So this dash is flush for us. There is no gap in here that it wasn't there before. So we are good to go on our end. Now we just need to install the side panels and we are done with the install. So a little bit of background on this instrument cluster. 2 months ago, TMA reached out to me and said that they were developing their own in-house version of an instrument cluster. They asked me for feedback, what should be included in that cluster. So I told them based on all the feedback that we have received in the channel. So very important that you commented on all of my videos. I told them to create these features where front bumper camera, it is a steering wheel mounted system, blind spot detection, autopilot detection, and Carplay. So then they came back to me and said, yes, they looked through all the videos that we have posted. They went through our comment section and looked through each of those comments, and they told me that that seems to be the most popular thing that people are interested in your channel. We are going to provide that in some ways. So about 2 weeks ago, they reached out to me and said, we have got the cluster ready. Would you like to test it? I said, sure, send it in. So then they sent it. I started testing it. I discovered some bugs. They were able to fix it right away, and I was amazed by how much of those features are available. Now let's go through all the settings and everything that this display offers. Then we're gonna take it out on a ride and show you what it looks like while driving. First of all, when it is in park, all you see is that indication that matches the Tesla's UI here. That's that car. And if you were to open the door, so we're gonna open the door here, it shows that the door has been opened. So that's what you see. The car kind of starts going to the front and then comes back, and that's what you see. The front, trunk, all of that is the same. Whatever door you're opening, it shows the door there. But that is everything that you see while it's in park. Nothing else. You have to put your car into the drive, but you are able to go to the settings menu within this mode, in the park mode. And to go to the settings menu, you have to push and hold this right scroll wheel towards the left. So press and hold towards the left, and you'll go into the settings menu. And I will go over this settings menu here in just a second. Now, if you go back here, and then if you press and hold this towards the right, that's when you get into different UI. But that is not populated well in park. That has to be while the car is in drive. So let's do that. When we put it in drive, you see that those UI menus are populated. There are 3 different UIs, and we'll cover all of them here in just a second. But this is the main screen. This is one of the UI that this display comes with. And let's go over and see what all of this do. So for here, you see the odometer. Here is an indicator that the automatic headlights are turned on. These are the indicator that the headlights and tail lights are turned on, as you can see right there. And then here is the hill hold. You see the hill hold here. That is right there is what is shown when you apply the brake. So if you let go of the brake, that sign goes away, but that is there. And then that just basically means passenger airbag is off. And you look at it here, that matches with the Tesla. Then here is your main speed. Here's the gear. The main car that drives will show you what it looks like driving here. And then there's the speed. Here's the speed limit. And if you remember, this is something that we have been telling all these manufacturers, put a US based speed limit, not one of the speed limit that has the red circle like the European one. It's fine for the Europe market, but for us, we wanted the white and black speed limit sign, and it matches here. So finally someone made that work. And towards the right there is your horsepower. Now these dials go up and down if you accelerate, decelerate. Same with that one. On the bottom left here, you see the temperature in Fahrenheit, and then this one right here is the acceleration versus deceleration. So if this is towards the left, that means it is green, you are regen braking. Towards the right is you are applying the power, you're using the battery. You see the battery percentage here, 51%, 120 miles. If you look at it here, it is say 120 miles, and if we press this, it's a 51%. So the battery percentage matches, there is no bug here. This sign in the front just means that the headlights are turned on, which the headlights are turned on. So that is everything that you see on this UI here. Now let's go to a different UI because that's the first UI. Let's go to the second UI, and to do that, you just have to press and hold the scroll wheel towards the right, and then the different UI pops up. So let's go to the second UI, and then to go between the different UIs or settings, you just have to scroll this wheel up or down. So let's go to the second one here, and the second one looks slightly different. They moved some stuff around. The speed limit sign is now on the top here. Odometer, the gear is here, the dials for the miles per hour, the horsepower, the time, the temperature, and then towards the right, the battery. I like that green battery indicator icon here, 51%, 120 miles, and then the automatic headlights are on, but the headlights themselves are not on. As you see here, the headlights are turned off. So this shows all the information that we saw earlier on a different format. Now let's go to the UI number 3. Again, to go to the next UI, press and hold this towards the right, and then you get there. Now scroll to the third one, and this is your typical dial system. We have seen this on other instrument cluster, but this one is slightly unique because it offers something different. Here you got the odometer, automatic light, speed limit. Again, the same stuff that you see on the other screens, miles per hour, the horsepower. If you want to see the dial version here, that is what you see. Now these are all in dark mode. Now if we want to turn the light mode on, that's when we need to go to the setting. So let's go to the settings next. And as we saw, it is fully synced with the Tesla. Let's go to the settings. To go to the settings, you just have to press and hold on this for just a little bit, and then you're gonna get to the settings menu. This is everything the settings menu currently offers, and they're always changing it based on people's needs, and they had different stuff here. I made them change it because I wanted to change a few things. They first didn't used to have the PSI for the tire unit. Here it was automatically following the car. I wanted to be able to go between bar and PSI, so I made them add that here instead of selecting the car where it was Model 3 here. Now they put that, so they have an ability to adjust any of this to fit the user's needs. So please send me a feedback down below what you would rather see in these settings. If you want some of this gone and some of this added, please let me know in the comment section below. But this is everything that you see. So the language setting, and one thing that was very shocking to me is that when I go to the language setting here, there is a lot of languages to choose from. So there's the Chinese, French, German, Arabic, Italian, Japanese, Portuguese, Russian, Spanish, Hebrew, Polish, Turkish, Czech. So you can select from all of those languages. This is the first instrument cluster that I have seen offer all of that. And then to go between the next one, again, you have to just kind of go back. This is a little bit of pain that I'm talking to them, that it should be on a loop where I should be able to go to the different ones. So There is the English, there is the UTC, the time zone, the Fahrenheit, 12-hour system. This is the US based speed limit. So if you want to see that speed limit like this, that's when you turn that on. And then the tire pressure, car model, color, day or night. Brightness is automatically, it follows the car. And if we go look at the car here, and if I go to display, this is where the brightness, so watch what happens when I adjust the brightness. It adjusts the brightness of the screen as well, so it follows the car. What it doesn't do right now is, even if I put follow the car, it does not go between dark and light, and we're looking into that with the manufacturer to see if we can solve that. But other than that, this works great, and this display actually automatically goes light to dark at a certain time right now. So I believe it is about 7 p.m. is when it goes dark and then light. But it's also super easy for you to just go to the settings menu here. If you don't like the light versus dark, just scroll through that setting here, day or night, and then you can just change it. So you can go to daytime, follow, or you can go to the nighttime. So you have an option to change different stuff here very, very easily. And then in the future, they are going to add the OTA upgrade, so they can do the over-the-air software update. As I said earlier, the speed limit sign, that's awesome. We see that it's the American version speed limit sign, so that correctly matches Tesla. Now this is what that second UI looks like while driving. It's a pretty minimalist UI, not a lot of information in here, but you see the speed, you see the horsepower, you see all of that in this same screen. You see the regenerative braking. So if you go fast and then regenerative braking, and it actually matches the Tesla's regen. So if we zoom out just a little bit to show both the screens here, so we are accelerating and now decelerating, and the regenerative braking actually matches what you see on the Tesla, which is pretty awesome. They got that detail right as well. Now this is the UI number 3. This is your typical dials. As you see, the dial updates as you're moving along, acceleration, deceleration. It shows all the information. It shows the horsepower and the dial. And if we start using the turn signals, you're going to see that live, and it accurately matches what you see in Tesla. Here is the daytime view of the UI 3. If you have any feedback on how to change some of these views and make it better for your personal liking, please let me know in the comment section below, and I have asked TMA to monitor this comment section. Now while driving, you can also swipe this up to see the tire pressure, and as you can see, it is that PSI number that matches the PSI number here on the Tesla. And if you lift it up, it shows the car's following distance, which is irrelevant for the FSD beta, but for those of you who don't have FSD beta, that is still relevant, and it shows the car's following distance there. Here's the autopilot test. If you have just the regular autopilot or enhanced autopilot and are not using the navigate and autopilot feature, the autopilot indicator turns blue as soon as you put your car into the autopilot mode. This is my Model Y, and I do not have FSD in this one, just has the enhanced autopilot. If the car gives you a nag with the blue flashing, it shows on this screen as well. This screen also gives you a message to hold your hands on the steering wheel to avoid Tesla nags. If you repeatedly ignore the message, and when Tesla kicks you out of autopilot, this screen also shows that information with the red sign. Now if you have a full self-driving beta, which is what I have on my Model 3, and are using a navigate and autopilot feature on just the enhanced autopilot, then the screen only shows gray autopilot sign instead of blue. Unfortunately, the nags do not appear on this screen if you are using FSD or the NOA. They are currently looking for a solution. Since my Model 3 has FSD beta, it won't show the nag. My Model Y shows the nag. Let's do a quick autopilot test on UI 2. As you saw, that sign popped up right there. Here is the autopilot test on UI 3. And on this one, the autopilot sign kind of shows up on the bottom of the dial here. One thing to keep in mind is that when you are using autopilot, you can use the right scroll wheel to change the speed. However, doing so will also change the front view of the screen, and you might go from a car logo to the tire pressure sign while you are changing the speed during autopilot. They are looking to see if they can disable the right scroll wheel if the car goes into autopilot mode, so that it only controls the autopilot speed and not the screen. Here is how the blind spot detector works. When you use the turn signal, and if Tesla doesn't detect a car in the blind spot, then the Tesla's visualization also doesn't turn red, and this screen just shows as a normal turn signal. However, when Tesla detects blind spot, the visualization turns red, This screen also flashes red to alert you that there is a car in your blind spot in the direction of your blinker. The visual on this screen is as good as Tesla's data, so if Tesla doesn't show blind spot, this won't either. But if Tesla shows there is a car in your blind spot and Tesla's visualization turns red, then this screen will also flash red, letting you know there is something in your blind spot. It shows everything that the car is showing, and it follows exactly the car's direction here, the speed, the turn signal, everything that you see on a Tesla is being represented here on this screen. So it is very well synced. As I said, I spent quite some time with this display cleaning out all the bugs and working with the manufacturer, and this is now I'm doing the testing. As you can see, the car shows everything and it follows the Tesla very, very well. So about the camera, they had already sent me this display 2 weeks ago, and I've been testing it, and they just figured out the whole camera system. They perfected it, they tested it on highway, road, everywhere they tested it where the camera can be triggered by multiple functions, and it is shown here on the screen as I'm talking. This is their feed. They sent me this feed, so I put it on the video here, but they did ship me the camera. It's gonna get here within the next week or so, and I'm gonna put out another video within the next 2 weeks showing you how to install the camera and how to get the camera feed. But if you order this display right now, they will send you the display with the camera integrated in it if you want the front-facing camera. So that video is coming here very soon. Sorry, I couldn't do it with this particular video because I wanted to put this video out as soon as possible so you know that this device exists in case you are in a verge of purchasing another display somewhere out there, and if this is the one that you want. So here's the option. You can purchase it now and they will send you the camera along with it, and I'm gonna put out a video as soon as possible. They will also send installation guide with all that product as well. So there are two main things missing on this display that you have all asked for in the past. First of all, ability to see the side repeater cameras on the display itself. So when you blink, see the side repeater camera. The best they can do with any third-party application is to show you the red indicator when there's a car in the blind spot. They cannot tap into the side repeater camera. I have talked to a lot of companies about that, Handshow being the biggest one, and a lot of other companies in the past about, can you make it so that we can see the side repeater camera within the screen? And they say that it is not possible. Tesla does not allow that, and they just cannot tap into the system where it shows the side repeater camera. Now, the next feature that is missing on this instrument cluster display is the Carplay. But they are already working on a solution where they are going to retrofit Carplay on this display. It is not going to be exactly this display. They are making an entirely new unit, but they made it a modular system so that you are able to upgrade just this display without having to remove all the wiring and everything. They would just sell you the chip and the LCD screen, which is a touch screen, and then you are able to just swap out this one with the new one rather than having to pay for an entirely new unit. If you purchase this unit now, they will just sell you those parts because the CarPlay unit is going to be more expensive than the one that you pay for on this one. I do not work for TMA. That is the promise that they made to me, so I'm just relaying that message to you. I hope they honor that because not a lot of companies are doing that, where a company makes a version 2 of the hardware and they decide to change everything. Then you're going to have to reach that difficult location for wiring and all of that, where I wish they would just make it an upgradable solution where the hardware can be retrofitted, hardware could be upgraded, and looks like this company is going for that, which is awesome for long term, because if they decide to bring in more and more features in the future, they made it so that it could be a modular design. So here's my verdict about this instrument cluster display. Let's start with my likes and then we'll move on to my dislikes. I really like the integration of this instrument cluster where it fits on the steering wheel panel. It doesn't block as much airflow. It doesn't look bulky or out of place. It's a rectangular shape. It's larger than some of those ultra mini or very, very super mini displays that we have reviewed, but not as big as some of the 10.25 inch displays that they take up the entire front here. So it's a perfect size in my opinion, where it is not very small for the eyes, but at the same time it offers everything that you need to see in front of you. I also really like that they incorporated our feedback from the channel. All of you viewers, thank you very much for putting all of those feedbacks of what you're looking for on an instrument cluster. And I think they delivered pretty nicely. I know that it doesn't have everything we're looking for, but in my opinion, they are the first ones to actually listen to the customer feedback and produce a product that is geared towards that, geared towards the customers, geared towards the viewers. So I really like that. The highlights are, again, the autopilot indicator, the autopilot nag. They included the blind spot detection. They included the front camera. They are making a unit with the CarPlay in the future. And another like is that they are going to offer a retrofit kit. That means you don't have to replace the entire unit and go through all the wiring and reach underneath the difficult areas. You can just replace the chip and the display, and you don't have to replace the entire thing. So that's also a great solution for customers, again, for all of you viewers out there. Now moving on to some of my dislikes. I wish they had made this unit a touchscreen unit to begin with, so that the CarPlay would already be here and we don't have to wait for a retrofit solution. But not everyone wants a CarPlay as well. Some people are just looking for the front camera or just looking for an instrument cluster, which this display does an awesome job. The bezels on this ones are a little bit wider than what I would have liked. I would have probably wanted the bezels to be narrower, but they did tell me that this is a much high quality screen and the top bezels are really right on. It's just those side bezels that are a little bit narrower on here. So the future generation, I hope that they clear out some of those bezels so that they are narrower and we get more screen. I think the graphics could use some help. They are a lot better than what we have seen in the past, but they still do not match 100% with Tesla's graphics. So I actually hope that some of you viewers out there have some ideas. If you have some ideas on how to change some of those graphics and make it look better or what you're looking for, I would greatly appreciate it if you please let me know in the comment section or directly reach out to me saying, hey, can they incorporate this graphic in there? And we can incorporate that with TMA. So what do you all think about this instrument cluster display? Does this solve the issues that you were hoping for? And is this something that you would install on your Tesla Model 3 or Model Y? I think this is a great display, but I really am looking forward to hearing all of your feedback. Please let me know in the comment section below. As I said in the past, it is very important that you leave those comments on the comment section so that the manufacturers like this, I mean, they looked at our comment section, they surfed through all of that, and then they made a display to fit all of those needs. So please continuously do that. It also helps us with YouTube's engagement so that YouTube shows our video to more people, generating more views for us in return. It helps us grow and bring more and more products like this in the channel. We greatly appreciate it. Please give our video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share, anything that you can do to help us engage with the video. Thank you very much. We'll be back again soon.